talk about sexual assault and how it's created media, how it affects celebrities, and movements like the Me Too movement that are going around the internet right now. And I just kind of want to start with a little discussion on sexual assault. I don't mean to assume or call anybody out or anything here, but I'm guessing most girls or even guys here have been victims of sexual assault. I'm not saying everyone here's gotten raped or something, but sexual assault can be as simple as a catcall on the street. Sexual assault is something women are almost expected to deal with because boys will be boys, right? No, that's a nasty way of thinking and they need to shut it down. Now, how often do you see the victim of an assault being blamed? Or maybe if she didn't wear that or if she didn't drink so much, this wouldn't have happened. Another nasty way of thinking. Now, one thing that I think we learned on orientation day that kind of stuck with me and made me think is that if someone is too drunk to drive a vehicle, like over that 0.08 blood alcohol or whatever it is, they're too drunk to consent. So that's just kind of something to keep in mind. But consent is a whole separate issue, and we're not talking about that today. Men can say they've been sexually assaulted too. You don't hear it as often, but about 10% of rape victims are men. One article I read said that as a young teen, this man worked as a waiter. He was repeatedly groped, called pet names, propositioned at work, and it's not okay. Men, women, nothing is okay, especially for somebody underage. And now if we turn to cases in Hollywood, because they're a lot easier to find, they're a lot more public knowledge. Terry Crews went on a big Twitter thread recently about how he was cornered by a Hollywood executive and groped right in front of his wife at a party. And of course, he can't do what you want to do and like punch the guy or something, because how are those headlines going to look the next morning? Or somebody like Harry Styles, he's a young guy, he's pretty cute, whatever. But he went too close to the front of the stage at a concert recently, and a young fan reached up and grabbed his crotch. The headline next day was, "Overexcited fan grabs Harry Styles' crotch," instead of "Harry Styles was sexually assaulted." Why is it glorified in cases of celebrity? It wouldn't be okay for me to just walk up and grab somebody, so why is it okay for someone to do that to somebody like Harry Styles? Or when I'm at a concert and the singer goes on the crowd and the girl to the left of me grabs his butt. That's just not cool, it's sickening. And that's why we need something like the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement has been kind of taking over the internet. Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, everywhere I have a presence, it's been like taken over by these stories lately. It's heartbreaking, the stories of sexual assault coming from all over the world. And this Me Too movement is a trend that actually started in 2007. An activist, Dara, put it out there and said, if you've been sexually assaulted or have experienced something like that, write Me Too on your status and get the word out there of how often this actually happened. This came back a couple weeks ago after the Harvey Weinstein incident when Alyssa Milano tweeted it out, and her tweet alone got almost 50,000 replies. I've seen articles of women forming online support groups to talk to each other and kind of talk each other through how all of this goes and be support groups for each other. And Harvey Weinstein being accused of sexual assault has actually brought a lot of other names to light, especially in Hollywood. There's a director whose name is James Toback. He has over 300 accusations coming out against him dating back to the 80s. Women like Rachel McAdams and Julianne Moore have come forward with stories of him assaulting them. And his defense is that they're a bunch of effing liars. Pretty solid stuff. Something I've actually found interesting is in the past maybe year or so is the stand that people in Hollywood seem to be taking against this kind of thing. There's a band called Power Bottom, who was supposed to be releasing a new album this year and going on tour, but right before this all, like their new album came out, people started coming forward with stories of one of the band members assaulting fans or people that they've toured with, and they were immediately dropped from their record label. Their music was taken off of Spotify overnight. The band has also set up an email for anybody with allegations or complaints to send their information to, and then the band themselves, along with a moderator, will reply and kind of get through that issue and settle it, I guess. Personally, I think that's a way better way to handle the situation than somebody like James Toback. Channing Tatum has also made headlines recently for pulling a project he had with the Weinstein Company. The project, ironically enough, was about a young boy going through sexual assault and how it ruined his life. This came days after the allegations against Harvey Weinstein came out, and that's the appropriate response. Weinstein isn't part of the production company anymore. He was fired as co-chair, he resigned from the board himself, but people don't want to have anything to do with anything with his name on it. The last example that I want to share for the right way to handle things is one that I kind of found almost impressive. Finn Wolfhard, he's probably one of the biggest child actors right now. He's Mike in Stranger Things. I know he was in the It movie. He recently fired his agent, Tyler Grasham, after finding out that he was accused of sexual assault against young male actors. So a 14-year-old boy has his head straight enough to come forward and say, I'm in 8th grade, but I know this is wrong, which is what he did. There's no hesitation in him completely leaving that agency that was associated with this man and moving on to bigger, better things. I think that all of these actors and companies taking a stand against this kind of thing is the right way to kind of, for the future of Hollywood, I guess, to kind of get this stuff completely out of the picture. I guess sexual assault's been around for a long time. It's obviously not going anywhere soon, but things like the Me Too movement and the stand people are taking against it are the right way to go to get it to stop.